Famous female musicians. Yeah. This is going to be difficult, but who can I use? Let's see. Let's try Goldfrapp. I like her a lot. Can I use her? Come on, search function. Ooh La La. Yeah, great song. Yeah, blocked in 244 countries. Screw that. Can't do that one. How about the Kills? I like Alison Mosshart. Let's see here. Future starts low, yeah. Viewable everywhere except 9 countries. What 9 countries? Australia. Well, I got a few viewers in Australia. That's going to screw that over. New Zealand. McDonald Islands? What the hell?
Like so many of the others, they come from near and far. I want to be your disease, lighten.
Vinyl community, welcome to my response to Hannah's 1,000 subs contest. So first of all, if you're not familiar with Hannah, and I think most of you are, check this out.
Everything all the time. Everything all the time. Everything all the time. Everything all the time. Everything all the time.
So Hannah, first of all, I have to say congratulations on the 1,000 subs. I'm not at all surprised you made it to this marker so quickly. It really, and don't take this in the wrong light, it helps that you're a minority. And honestly, it's just reflective that the vinyl community needs more diversity than white males. And I'm a white male, I can say that. But yeah, I wish, you know, there were a lot more females. I wish, you know, we had more diversity overall in the vinyl community, because there's music lovers out there. Race, religion, you know, you name it, gender, they're out there. So, you know, if you're watching me and you haven't made a video yet and you're a music collector, please do. I mean, if, especially if you're not a white male. But anyway, I was an early adopter of Hannah's channel, and I really connect with her on many levels. And that's what I like about the vinyl community. It's trying to find what your intersection points are with other collectors. And because my taste is so diverse, I mean, I have intersection points with a lot of different YouTubers, which is fantastic. And I learn a lot about a lot of different records from watching other people. But Hannah has influenced a lot of my purchasing decisions in the past several months. Just to highlight, if it wasn't for her, I would not have known about this reissue. So she is a big fan of Juliana Hatfield, and she's the one that keyed me into this reissue, and I love this album in the 90s. And if it wasn't for checking out our channel, I would not have known about this reissue. So thank you very much, Hannah. Now, I gotta say, remember a couple weeks ago during the government shutdown, which is still continuing and is irritating me to no end? Yeah, I did my final tag response, and Hannah cut me in a lie. And she's the only one that would have known this. So it was December 31st. she had just dropped her shoegaze video, which is fantastic. So if you don't know anything about shoegaze music, check that video out. It's fantastic. So she featured a lot of bands that I just did not know, and you know, I'm like, government shutdown will end soon. I'm gonna pick up some music. And so I bought 3 records, probably about 5 hours before we got into the new year. Thanks, Hannah. And when I did my vinyl tag video, I didn't have any of them in hand. And I felt awkward. I didn't want to show anyone like an iTunes thumbnail or anything like that, because one of them I did get digitally, and that's Pia Fraus, and I still haven't gotten that record. So I can't show it. So I had to show 2 things that I got currently. So yeah, I lied. You caught me in a lie. Thanks, Hannah. But yeah, just to prove it. Yeah, so this is Slow Dive Souvlaki. Fantastic album. So Hannah, yes, I did buy this because of you. All right. But you're here to hear me talk about other records and to answer her questions. And I like these contests that have different questions, and so it's an opportunity to show different records and talk about different things. And the first thing was an impossible question. They're all kind of impossible questions, let's be honest. 3 favorite female artists, that's impossible. Especially with me, because my tastes are so diverse and broad. I can't name 3. So there were 3 I was going to use for this video, but I was doing research, like you kind of saw in the beginning. I can't use them because of YouTube. Frustrating. But I did want to show 3 different genres, 3 different female artists that I do appreciate. The first one is Dead Can Dance. And the female lead, Lisa Gerrard, is just fantastic. Not only is she a fantastic singer, she's had a great solo career. She's also done movie soundtracks, so she's partnered with, you know, many composers doing soundtrack work, like Gladiator, for example. That's an album that she had sung on. Not only is she a fantastic singer, she is also talented at playing the hammered dulcimer. And I do want to play you a clip from this particular album that I do enjoy. This album was made after they had been on hiatus for like 14, 15 years. And when a band goes on a hiatus like that, I'm like, are they really going to be good when they come back? And this was, you know, just as good as any other album that they had put out in their catalog. And they just came out with a new one this year that would be in my top albums of 2018 if I ever get around to making that video. I hope we do. With the government furlough, yeah, I got plenty of time, right? But anyway, here is one track from this album which highlights Lisa's talent. Here you go. Everyone knows that I'm into jazz, and there is a jazz organist out there that is very underrated. She is often overlooked, and that is Shirley Scott. And Shirley Scott is a hard bopper. There you go. There's a subgenre for you, hard bop. And just like Dead Can Dance before, dark wave. Shirley Scott is a Hammond B3 organist. And, you know, she was just as good as her contemporaries. So Jimmy Smith, Brother Jack McDuff, Jimmy McGriff, Larry Young, Big John Patton, just to name a few. Her records are often overlooked. And when I find her in a trio quartet setting, it's just fantastic. Her Impulse albums, you can buy them so damn cheaply. I recommend them if you can find them. They're just fantastic. Shirley was actually married to the famous tenor saxophonist Stanley Turrentine, and you know, she was making albums and playing jazz music all the way up until she died, which I think was a few years back. But anyways, don't pass up on a Shirley Scott record if you see it. Here's a couple of sound samples from this album. So Hannah's last contest was covering psych records. So, you know, just to diversify and show another artist in the psych vein, and actually a newer artist is Josephine Oran, and The Liberation. This is her album Mirage. You know, this is really, really good modern psych. She actually has a new LP that is coming out, I think, in April of this year. I have it in pre-order. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, you know, I have a couple of her records. I really enjoy them. Here's a couple of sound clips for this one. I don't know much about her background. She is from Sweden. But anyway, here you go with this one. So your next question was just as difficult because, yeah, there's so many subgenres that I can delve into. But I decided to cover a couple here that really don't get discussed that often. And the first one is house music. And I know what you're thinking. House music? You're not going to be playing that monotonous. So, yeah, house music, it can be very monotonous. There's a lot of bad house music out there. I'll concede that. You know, maybe it's my DJing mindset that, you know, I'm looking for a good party record, good dance record, something that, you know, will really get people on the dance floor. You know, I haven't DJed in a long time, but, you know, I still have that mentality. But the first house record I want to cover is probably the groundbreaker. House is a marriage of disco and electronic music, and as everyone knows, disco came to kind of a hiatus in 79 or 80 with this.
Disco sucks! Disco sucks! Disco sucks! July 12th, 1979. Then it was time for Steve Dahl, the disc jockey, to blow up some records. He took to the field in a Jeep at the command of his ragged army. 1, 2, 3, boom! Yeah! That blew up real good!
Now, you know, disco was forced underground. Nobody wanted to play the records for several years, but, you know, there were a lot of underground clubs that were, you know, playing dance music. And in Chicago, this 12-inch hit the racks, and it is the song Your Love by Frankie Knuckles, with Jamie Princip as the singer. It's, you know, very simple in its background formulation, but it has some wonderful singing that's reminiscent of like a Michael Jackson pop song, and it has a wonderful keyboard solo. And it is very iconic. It's very catchy, so this could have been an earworm song. There are some people that don't even know about this particular record. This is on Trax, and Trax was really kind of the groundbreaker in the United States for issuing house music. And, you know, they're not known for the best quality pressings. You know, they would do a lot of regrind, and sometimes you get labels in your reground records. So the sound quality is not that great. But this copy that I managed to score, which was kind of a grail for me, turned out quite good. There have been a couple of reissues. So Frankie Knuckles had like a comp of some of his greatest 12 inches, you know, put out there for about I think this album came out about 5 years ago, and, you know, this is just a fantastic comp. But, you know, if you're not familiar with Your Love, here's a sampling.
When I'm with you, I believe that your love is true. When we love, you turn me out. I don't know what to do. Visions really blow my mind.
Now, another one of my house grails came in this year. There's an artist out there that I really like, and he goes by the handle C'est Saint Laurent. And my French viewers are going to have to correct me on the pronunciation. I think he's from the UK originally. And, you know, he's been putting out 12-inch EPs since the start of the decade. You know, I don't know a whole lot about him, but, you know, I've been trying to seek out all of his EPs, and one of the ones that I've been looking for features the song Psychedelic Woman. And there's no real jackets per se, and I'm really after the labels, and I was a little bit disappointed because what I got was a test press of this one, so I don't have the cool label. I'd like to get an original, but you know, how much do I really want to spend for just you know, an interesting label? I probably would skip on it. I'm just happy to have the record at this point because his music is not available digitally at all, and this one was a little bit pricey. Some of his records go for $100, and that's pretty pricey for an EP. But yeah, I'd like to probably do a dedicated video on this guy just down the road, you know, once I learn a little bit more about his background. But I am happy to have this particular EP, even though it is a test press. And here is just a cut of the song that kind of infatuated me at the beginning.
La 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 la, shabba la 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 la. Psychedelic woman, you wonderful. Well, I say, psychedelic woman. Yeah, boy.
Okay, next genre, which I've never seen anyone discuss, is Electro-Swing. And so Electro-Swing is a marriage of electronic music, sampling, and swing music from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And one of the pioneers of that subgenre of electronic music is Parov Stelar, who is an Austrian composer. I got into him probably well over a decade ago. When I was living in Germany, and I've been trying to pick up every single release that he's put out since then. This is one of his few full-length vinyl releases. This is the artist sampling, which is fantastic. He came out with a new album this past year called The Burning Spider, and this one he features samples of blues musicians. So he samples Muddy Waters, he samples Lightning Hopkins on this one. I would like to play you a couple of cuts from these two records, just so you can get a feel for what it's like. So here you go. So another one in the Electro-Swing ensemble is Caravan Palace. The title of this one is kind of this robot symbol. This is fantastic. This, although it, you know, it derives from 30s and 40s swing music and sampling, there's a little bit of trip hop, hip hop sound to it. I mean, there's no rapping per se, but I found this to be a very enjoyable record. Now, I'm curious to see what the response is going to be on Electro-Swing. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people like, you're showing house? You're showing Electro-Swing? What a bunch of crap. That's okay. But hopefully there's a few that, you know, might get turned on to the music. And, you know, that's why I like these questions, because, yeah, it lets me feature some records that, you know, may not be too well known. So, yeah. That is the second subgenre. Here's a couple samples from this one. Here you go.
Hey, brother, what you thinking? Leave that on record spinning. You feel the rhythm going. Legs ain't got time to lay low.
All right, Hannah. So the last question I also struggled with. You know, I got some good pieces of gear, probably more than what your average buyer would care to pay for. Do I have an upper echelon system? Absolutely not. I work for the government and, you know, I'm not getting paid right now, which is totally freaking me out. And I might have to sell some of my equipment. But yeah, you know, I call it a mid-level system, but you know, there are some YouTubers out there that would cringe on some of the things that I've paid money for. To each his own, but you know, I try and be humble. You know, people have asked me to do an equipment tour or a room tour, and you know, again, it's something that I've always struggled with because I don't like to flash the cash, so to speak. But you know, I would have to say that the piece of equipment that I enjoy the most is what you see in the needle drops, and that is my cartridge. So my cartridge is a Dynavector. It is what they call a moving coil design. So if you're not familiar with cartridges, there are two main designs. Now there's some sub designs out there, but there's moving coil and moving magnet. Moving magnet is the predominant cartridge design. You know, they've been around since the inception of the record player. The moving coil designs came around in the 70s, and because you're moving the coil instead of moving a magnet, they are more sensitive, and because they're more sensitive, you can actually pick up more information out of the LP grooves, or so the theory goes. So is that to say that all moving coil cartridges are good? No. I mean, there are some moving magnet cartridges that can outdo a moving coil. But if you look at the upper echelons of cartridges and cartridge prices, predominantly they're all moving coil because of the data retrieval. Now, when I stepped up to the Dynavector, was it a transformative experience? No. I mean, I did notice more things from the LP grooves. I noticed a little more detail. And so there was a little more warmth with this cartridge. And so I really, really enjoy it. It really got me from probably an A to an A+, but you know, there's more expensive cartridges out there, probably 5, 6, 7 times. But this one I really do enjoy. If you have the opportunity to go to a moving coil, I highly recommend it. But anyway, I hope that answers the mail on this last question. And I gotta say, if you've made it this far, you don't even have to enter me in. I am just happy to promote your channel. To all my viewers out there, thank you for watching. I'm hoping I can squeeze out another 1 or 2 videos during the government shutdown. I'm having to deal with a honey-do list, so to speak, so a bunch of home projects. And plus I'm trying to learn some new software, so that might take up some time. But anyways, thank you for watching. Hannah, again, congratulations, and I'll catch you all next time.